Hello, beautiful soul. Welcome back to Celestial Oracle Codes. This message is for the one who can feel that someone is not done with this connection. You may not have proof yet. You may not have a message yet. You may not even have an apology. The conversation, the return, or the clear sign in the physical yet. But something in the energy feels different. Something feels like it is turning back around, and the message coming through very strongly is they're coming back differently. Not necessarily loudly, not necessarily dramatically, not necessarily in the exact way your mind imagined, but differently. With a different awareness, different tone, a different emotional weight, a different understanding. I'm hearing a different understanding of what they walked away from. Okay, mishandled, avoided, disrespected, delayed, or failed to fully appreciate before. Okay? So, this feels like someone who had to experience the absence of your energy in order to understand the value of your presence. They may have thought they could I'm hearing overrun you with emotional saturation. Interesting. But they may have thought they could compartmentalize this. They may have thought that they could distract themselves. They may have thought silence would make the feeling fade. And they may have thought that they could get an emotional reaction out of you. They may have thought distance would give them control. But instead, the distance showed them something. The silence revealed something. It revealed an absence of you. And that absence taught them something very special. Now, the person who comes back toward you may not be the same version of them who left, pulled away, went cold, acted confused, acted unavailable, or made you feel like you were carrying the emotional weight alone. Okay, so before we go deeper, please remember this is a general collective reading. Take what resonates, leave what does not for whomever it is for. And always use your own discernment and intuition. Tarot and intuitive guidance are here to support your clarity, replace you, and not replace your free will. So please take what resonates and lovingly leave the rest. And if this message finds you, trust that there may be something here your spirit already knows or wants you to know. So take a deep breath, place your hand over your heart if that feels good, and let us tune into the energy of they're coming back differently, because honestly, they are. So the energy around this, the first thing I feel, yeah, the first thing I feel is that this is not just a return of communication, confirmation received. This is a return of recognition, and there is a difference. Someone can come back because they're only trying to see if they can get you back, or because they don't have you. Someone can come back because they miss attention. Someone can come back because they are lonely. But this energy feels deeper than that. This feels like someone coming back because they're beginning to understand something they did not understand before. They're beginning to understand your value, right? Your worth. And they're beginning to understand the emotional safety you brought. So they're beginning to understand the spiritual weight of your disconnection. Wow. They're beginning to understand that what they felt with you was not easily replaceable, I'm hearing. And for some of you, this person tried to replace it. They may have tried to move on quickly. They may have tried to act unaffected, unbothered. They may have kept themselves busy. They may have done all kinds of things. They may have used substances, um, all kinds of things. They may have thrown themselves into work, distractions, another relationship, friends, another distraction for entertainment or emotional avoidance. I'm hearing. Okay. But what I am also hearing is the surface moved on before the soul did. Interesting. So their outer life may have continued, right? It may have gone on. Their routine may have continued. Their pride may have continued. Their complacency may have continued, I'm hearing. And now that inner circling is beginning to create outer movement. So this is the energy of someone realizing, I can't keep pretending this didn't affect me. I can't keep acting like this connection was ordinary. I can't keep ignoring what I still feel. And the reason they're coming back differently is because the old version of you doesn't work anymore. The old mask doesn't fit anymore. The old avoidance doesn't feel powerful anymore. The old silence doesn't feel safe anymore. It feels empty. It feels unresolved. It feels like unfinished business in the heart. It feels, yeah, like something is coming down on you or on them. And they may have shown interest but not consistency. They may have had feelings but not emotional maturity. For many of you, this person did not fully show up the first time. They may have wanted closeness but feared vulnerability. They may have sent mixed signals. For a lot of you, they sent mixed signals. And they may have pulled you in and then pulled away. They may have been affectionate one moment and guarded the next. They may have made you feel seen, then suddenly left you questioning everything. And the painful part is, you may have known there was something real there. That is what made it confusing. This may not have felt like a simple rejection. It may have felt like someone running from something they also felt. You could sense the connection. You could sense the recognition. You could sense the chemistry and the emotional current, the spiritual pull, the unspoken awareness. But their behavior did not always match the depth I'm hearing of your energy. And that created confusion because your spirit may have been saying, this is not nothing. But their actions may have been saying, I am not ready. And that is where many of you had to learn one of the deepest lessons. A connection can be real and still require boundaries. A bond can be spiritual and still require maturity. A person can feel deeply and still not be ready to act responsibly. And a soul can recognize you and still need to grow before they can meet you properly. So this is important because the return can not only be measured by emotion, it has to be measured by behavior now. Yeah. They may be coming back differently, but the question is, are they showing up differently? That is where your discernment becomes sacred. What changed in them is perspective. They may have had to sit with the consequences of their own emotional choices. They may finally be letting go of the illusions. They may have had to experience disappointment elsewhere. And they may have had to notice that other people did not feel the same. So they may have had to face themselves in a way they avoided before. For some of you, this person thought time would make the connection fade, but time did not erase it. Time clarified it. Distance did not kill it, distance exposed it. Silence didn't give them peace. Silence made them hear their own truth louder. And I feel that for some of them, there was a moment, maybe not a dramatic moment, but an internal one where they realized, I handled that wrong, right? I should have said more. I should have been honest. I should not have let my fear control the situation. I didn't appreciate what I had access to. This is not necessarily someone who has figured everything out, but they are more aware than they were. So their emotional intelligence is being activated, and their conscience is louder, I'm hearing. Yeah, their conscience is becoming overbearing, is what I'm hearing. And their pride is not as comfortable. Their old defenses are not protecting them the same way. This is why the energy feels different. They're not coming back with the same level of unconsciousness. They're not approaching this with the same casualness. Okay? One way or another, you are supported, and whatever you desire is what will be. So they may still be nervous. They may still move slowly. They may still test the water. So if you want to reconcile, then this might take a long time. So you need to be patient, is also the message coming through with this. But underneath that, there is more sincerity than before with them. So let's talk about why they pulled away. It's important to see, and we've got it out here. So for many of you, this person pulled away not because they felt nothing, but because they felt too much without knowing how to process it. This doesn't excuse their behavior, but it does explain the energetic pattern. This person may have been used to connections where they could stay in control. Connections where they could keep things light. Connections where they could be admired, wanted, or desired without having to be deeply seen. But with you, they felt seen. And being seen can be beautiful. But for an unhealed or guarded person, it can also feel threatening. You may have activated parts of them they were not ready to face. Their fear of abandonment, their fear of intimacy, their fear of not being enough, their fear of losing control, and their fear of being vulnerable and then being hurt. They had a deep fear of having to become a better version of themselves as well. So this connection may have asked more from them than they expected. Not because you demanded too much, not because your energy, right? I'm hearing your energy naturally called them higher. And sometimes when someone is not ready to rise, they retreat, they run, they pull away from the person who reminds them of their own potential. They avoid the connection that makes them feel exposed. They choose comfort over transformation. They choose distance over emotional responsibility. And this doesn't have to be physical distance. This is emotional, mental distance. It can be physical as well. But here's the shift. What once felt intimidating may now feel meaningful. And what once triggered fear may now trigger longing. What once made them run may now be making them reflect. And that is the difference. Your energy is transforming them. They are still too naive to see that. They're becoming more of who they truly are. They're coming back differently because they cannot approach you from the same level and expect the same access. Your energy has changed too. That is a major part of this message. They're not just changing, you're changing. You may not be as emotionally available to confusion as you were once. You may not be as willing to over-explain your worth. You know your deservingness. You know you don't have to be perfect. You know you're significant. You're so significant. You may not be as quick to fill in the blanks for someone who's not communicating clearly. You may not be as open to potential without proof. And this shift in you is part of what is calling forward a different version of them. Because energetically, you're no longer standing in the same space. You're no longer aligned like that. You're no longer waiting in the same way. Your vibration is a lot higher than theirs. So you all don't share the same space anymore. And you're no longer reaching from the same wound. You're no longer ungrounded. Yeah, you're more grounded now. More aware now. More discerning now. More connected to your own value now. And when your energy changes, people cannot come back to you the same way they left. They may try. Oh, they can try, but it will not work. The old version of them had access to the old version of you, but the new version of you requires something different. And spiritually, this is powerful because it means the connection is no longer just about whether they return. It's about whether the return matches your evolution. And now, how they may be coming back is the interesting thing. Uh-huh. How they may be coming back is through a deep, deep enlightening and awakening. This is the Eye of Serpent. It's the spirit of ayahuasca, plant medicine. Ultimately, it lets you know that there's a transformation there. So that's how they may come back. They may come back transformed. They may come back and have shed that old identity. They may come back and have a new understanding of how this life moves and how the universe is responding to them. They may have a lot more maturity with this Eye of Serpent coming out. They may see things differently, and they may have a lot more insight, and they may have opened their spiritual eyes or become more aware. For many of you, this person may not come back with a grand declaration immediately, right? This feels more like a cautious return, a softened message, a small opening, a check-in, a reaction to something you post, a sudden appearance. Or a casual question that carries more emotion than words reveal, right? So it's not the slowest movement, but it's not the fastest movement. Okay? It's like a snail underwater. But as you see, it's holding a pearl. So there is a treasure there when it finally shows up. So this can come as a, hey, how have you been, right? I was thinking about you. I hope you're doing well. A message that seems simple on the surface, but underneath it's someone trying to see if the door is still emotionally available. They may try to come in lightly because they are afraid of rejection, right? They may not know how much you know. They may not know how much you truly mean to them. They may not know how much they mean to you in that way. They may not know whether you have moved on. And they may not know if you are still open. So there's a lot they don't know. And they may not know how to address the full weight of what happened. So they may begin with something small, but you'll feel the difference in the energy. The tone may be softer, the differences will be there, okay? So the defensiveness may be lower, the ego may be less sharp, they may listen more, they may ask more, they'll just be more interested, they may be more careful with their words, they may show curiosity about your life, they may express regret indirectly before they express it directly. So, it'll be like almost a grieving remorse tone in their voice. For some of you, the apology may not come immediately in the exact words you want, but their behavior may begin to show an awareness that they know, they cannot just pretend nothing happened. Now, that does not mean you should expect crumbs. It means you should watch the pattern. A small beginning can be meaningful if it grows into consistent, respectful, emotionally honest behavior. So that's that consistent growth or consistent movement forward that eventually produces that pearl. But a small beginning that stays small is not enough, right? A pearl that stays as a grain of sand is not enough. You are allowed to require clarity. You are allowed to require effort. You are allowed to require emotional maturity. And what they want to say energetically, what this person may want to say is, I did not know how to handle what I felt. I acted like I had it under control, but I didn't. I thought walking away or staying silent would make it easier, and it didn't. I see now that I hurt you. I see now that I confused you. I see now that I made you question something that was real. I was scared of how deeply I felt. I was scared of what the connection required from me. I did not want to admit how much you mattered. I did not realize how rare your energy was until I no longer had it close. I'm not the same person I was when I pulled away. And for some of you, they're also saying, I don't know if you will let me back in. I don't know if I deserve another chance. I don't know how to fix it. But I know I cannot keep pretending I do not care. That is the emotional current. Again, this is not a command for you to accept them. This is insight into what may be moving beneath the surface, because your job is not to rescue them from their regret. Your job is to discern whether their return is aligned, respectful, and emotionally safe for you. The spiritual lesson, your lesson in this is not to chase the return. Your lesson is to remain sovereign when the return happens. So I keep hearing the guides speak on spiritual lesson, spiritual lesson, spiritual lesson. The heart says they're back. Right? Sometimes the thing you wanted finally starts moving. Sometimes it does. Sometimes the thing that you wanted resets the nervous system, right? Because sometimes that thing you finally wanted, it finally starts moving, and the nervous system wants to abandon all the lessons it's learned. And I can't advise stronger against this. The heart says they're back. The inner child says finally. The hope says maybe this is it. But the sovereign self says, let me observe. Let me stay grounded. Let me see if this is consistent. Let me listen to what it is saying, to what is being said and what is not said. Let me notice whether my body feels peaceful or anxious. Let me honor the growth I earned while they were here, right? And let me honor the growth I earned while they were away. So there's a very big message coming through here. A very big message. For your self-sovereignty, for all of the aspects of your life that ultimately are leading to you seeing that they are observing you because they want back in. So what they're saying now, is I don't know how to fix this. So what the sovereign self is saying to you, it's just saying, let me observe, let me stay grounded, let me see if this is consistent, let me listen to what is said and what is not said, let me notice whether my body feels peaceful or anxious, let me honor the growth I earned while they were there and while they were away. That is your power now. The return is not the reward. The return is the test of the embodiment. Right? Can you remain open without becoming desperate? Can you be loving without abandoning your standards? Can you forgive without forgetting what you learned? Can you receive communication without rushing into fantasy? Can you let someone show you who they are now instead of projecting who you hope they have become onto them? This is where your growth becomes visible, because the old version of you may have grabbed onto the first sign. The new version of you pauses when it sees the sign. The old version of you may have overgiven. The new version of you requires presence and peace, reciprocity. And that is the upgrade. The new version of you requires a deeper presence, right? The old version of you might have accepted potential. It's a strong message here today that the new you only accepts presence, confirmation received. So that is the upgrade. What you need to watch for, beautiful soul, is the discernment piece. Different words are not enough. Different energy is the beginning. Different behavior is the proof. Watch for consistency. Watch for accountability. Watch for emotional honesty. Watch for whether they can name what happened without making you responsible for their avoidance. That's the most important thing here. because accountability has been a weakness for them. So watch for whether they respect your pace as well. Watch for whether they listen when you speak, right? When you are setting your boundaries. Watch for whether they can handle your boundaries without punishing you. Watch for whether they are returning to love you better or returning to feel better about themselves. Because that's what makes the big difference here. That distinction matters here. Because someone can miss you and still not be ready to honor you. Someone can regret losing access and still not have developed the maturity to maintain it. Someone can feel a soul connection and still need to learn how to show up in human reality. So your standard is simple. Do not just ask, are they back? Ask, are they present? Are they honest? Are they truthful? Are they sincere? Are they emotionally mature? Right? Are they respectful? Are they emotionally stable? It's just, there's a lot. Right? Are they consistent? Consistency is very important here. Are they meeting me in the reality of this connection, not just the fantasy of it? That is how you protect your peace. For some of you, this return feels faded because the connection itself was a catalyst. Whether this becomes a renewed relationship, a healing conversation, closure, reconciliation, or new beginning, this person was part of your transformation. They awakened something, they mirrored something, they revealed something. They may have shown you where you were overextending, right? It can be something just as simple as that, or it can be how you were not showing up for yourself. One way or another, they made sure that you got your groove back. They may have shown you where you were accepting emotional uncertainty. They may have shown you where your heart was open, but your boundaries needed strengthening. They may have shown you the difference between longing and alignment. And now their return may show you something else. How much you've changed. Because you may notice that you are not reacting the same way as what I'm hearing. You may notice that you are calmer. You may notice that you're not as easily pulled off center. You may notice that you can love someone and still choose yourself. You may notice that you can hear them out without handing them your whole heart immediately. So you may notice that you no longer need them to validate what you already know. And that is powerful. Sometimes people come back not only so they can come show you they changed, but so you can see that you changed. The likely next move here feels like a soft reopening. A small sign, a message, a check in, a dream, a sudden emotional pull, a synchronicity, a social media interaction, a mutual contact, a chance crossing, a moment where the energy becomes harder to ignore. For some of you, this may happen after a period of silence, emotional distance, or no clear movement. For others, this person may already be around you, but their behavior is beginning to shift. So they may become more attentive, more curious, more emotionally present, more careful, more respectful, less defensive, less cold, less avoidant. But the message here is, let the movement reveal itself. Do not force it. Do not chase it. Do not over interpret every tiny sign. Let reality speak. Let behavior speak. Let consistency speak. And most importantly, let your peace speak. Because the right return will not require you to betray yourself. The right return will not require you to shrink your needs. The right return will not require you to pretend the past did not affect you in any way. A truly different return can hold an honest conversation. A truly different return can respect the growth that happened during the separation. And a truly different return understands that access to you is sacred. So, my direct message to you now, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful soul. This is your reminder. You are not the same person they left, okay? So take the pressure off of yourself and realize that. Give yourself the credit first. You're not the same person they confused. You're not the same person who waited in uncertainty. You're not the same person who needed them to choose you so you could feel chosen. Something in you has stabilized. Something in you has matured. Something in you has come home to itself. And because of that, the energy around the connection has changed. So they may be coming back differently, but you're receiving differently too. And you're not receiving from fear, you're receiving from wisdom. You're not receiving from lack, you're receiving from self worth. And you're not receiving from desperation, you're receiving from discernment. And that means you don't have to block your heart to protect yourself. You simply have to keep your standards awake. You can be compassionate and clear. You can be open and grounded. You can be loving and sovereign. You can say, I'm willing to see who you are now, but I will not abandon who I became. That is the message. That is the power. That is the shift. For those this reading is meant for, I feel the energy of a return, and I love you all unconditionally, and I send you all my love and light and passion as you use your discernment to navigate these waters, but not a return that is meant to pull you backward. This is a return that reveals growth. It reveals whether you've changed and whether you've allowed them to change and whether they have changed. It reveals whether this connection can meet a higher standard now. And I keep hearing, do not rush the door open. Let them knock correctly. That is powerful. Do not rush the door open. Let them knock correctly. Let the approach show maturity. Let the words carry accountability. Let the behavior carry consistency. Let the energy feel peaceful, not chaotic. Let the connection come into the light where it can be easily seen clearly, because what is meant for your highest good will not require you to lose yourself or do anything in spite of yourself to receive it, I'm hearing. And what is truly returning in alignment will honor the version of you that had to grow in the silence. So, yes, beautiful soul, they may be coming back, but they are coming back to a different you, and that changes everything. Ultimately, if this message resonated with your spirit, you can like this video and subscribe for more intuitive collective readings, angelic guidance, and soul aligned messages. And in the comments, you can write, I receive clarity, consistency, and aligned love. Or simply write, they must meet me now, in this now moment, and they must meet the new me. Because that is the affirmation of this reading. I receive clarity, consistency, and aligned love. They must meet me in the now, and they must meet the new me. Because this isn't about bitterness. It's not about fear. It's not about chasing. It's not about waiting. Sovereignty, clarity, alignment, and love that can meet you in truth. As always, beautiful soul, that is what this has been about. So take what resonates and lovingly leave what does not. And trust your own inner guidance above all. I love you. I honor you. And I will see you in my next reading.